A lot of people complain about games that just can't keep you hooked, and I've been there many times. But let's be honest, sometimes the problem is simple. The game just isn't as good as it seemed. I've been disappointed way too often by overhyped titles. You start excited, and a few hours later you're already thinking about uninstalling. So I did things differently. I tested a lot of games and narrowed it down to 15 that are so good they'll keep you hooked for hours, maybe even days. Who knows? One of them might make you forget about the rest of the world.
Horizon Zero Dawn. The first time you step into the world of Horizon Zero Dawn, you realize this isn't just another open-world game. It is a meticulously crafted mystery that demands to be solved. What makes it so addictive is the discovery loop. You start as Aloy, an outcast in a primitive world dominated by colossal, animal-like machines, and the game constantly feeds you breadcrumbs about how civilization fell. Technically, the game humbles its competitors with the machine dismemberment system. Combat isn't just about draining a health bar. It's a high-stakes puzzle where you have to use your focus to identify weak points, rip off components, and harvest resources in real time. The satisfaction of successfully tethering a Thunderjaw or knocking the freeze canisters off a Bellowback provides a dopamine hit that few games can match. The Decima engine creates a lush post-apocalyptic world where the transition between dense forests and frozen mountains is so seamless, you'll find yourself saying, "Just one more campfire until the sun comes up." It's a masterpiece of pacing that keeps you hooked by perfectly balancing the thrill of the hunt with a narrative that is genuinely mind-blowing.
Silent Hill 2 Remake. When Bloober Team took on the Silent Hill 2 remake, they didn't just update the graphics, they created a psychological trap that is impossible to walk away from. This game is addictive in a suffocating way. It draws you into the foggy streets of Silent Hill and uses an incredible atmosphere to keep you glued to the screen even when you're terrified. What humbles modern horror games here is the environmental storytelling and the sound design. The technical work on the 3D audio is staggering. Every floorboard creak and distant radio static pulls you deeper into James Sunderland's fractured psyche. The combat has been modernized to feel visceral and heavy, making every encounter with a lying figure or a nurse feel like a desperate struggle for survival. You get hooked on the mystery of Maria, the cryptic puzzles, and the Unreal Engine 5 visuals that make the decay and grime of the town look disturbingly beautiful. It's the kind of game where you start playing at 10 p.m. and suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you're too invested in James's journey of guilt and grief to turn the lights off.
Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Knight is the ultimate power fantasy, and its addiction comes from the absolute fluidity of its systems. Released in 2015, it still humbles most 2026 superhero games because of the free-flow combat and traversal. Once you master the rhythm of gliding through Gotham's rainy skyline and diving into a group of 20 thugs, you enter a flow state that is hard to break. The technical integration of the Batmobile, turning the city into a high-speed playground, adds a layer of mechanical variety that keeps the gameplay fresh for dozens of hours. What really hooks you, though, is the Night of the Joker. The way the story unfolds over a single chaotic night, with side missions involving the Riddler, Man-Bat, and the Penguin, creates a checklist effect that is incredibly hard to put down. Every time you clear a militia checkpoint or solve a forensic puzzle, you feel like the world's greatest detective. The visual fidelity, especially the way rain interacts with Batman's cape and the neon lights of the city, creates a noir atmosphere so thick you'll find yourself exploring every alleyway long after the main story ends.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
If you're looking for a game that will literally consume your life, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the one. This is a massive, sprawling Greek epic that is designed to be a forever game. The hook here is the sheer sense of scale. You play as Alexios or Cassandra, a mercenary in the middle of the Peloponnesian War, and the game gives you an entire Aegean Sea to conquer. Technically, the naval combat and the mercenary system humbles the competition by creating a dynamic world that reacts to your crimes. If you steal or kill, bounty hunters will track you across the map, leading to unscripted, epic battles. The RPG progression is the real addiction. You're constantly finding better gear, engraving your weapons, and upgrading your ship, the Adrestia. Whether you're hunting the Cult of Cosmos, fighting legendary beasts like the Nemean Lion, or participating in massive 150-man conquest battles, there is always something to do. It's a game of just one more island, where the beautiful vistas of ancient Athens and Sparta, combined with a deep loot system, ensure that 60 hours feel like 20.
Cyberpunk 2077. If you want to know what it feels like to be completely consumed by a digital city, look no further than Cyberpunk 2077. In its current 2.0 and Phantom Liberty state, this game is a technical and narrative masterpiece that humbles every other sci-fi world in existence. The addiction here comes from the sheer density of Night City. This isn't just a map, it's an architectural marvel of verticality and neon-soaked atmosphere. Powered by cutting-edge path tracing and DLSS technology, the visual fidelity is so high that just walking through the streets feels like a reward. But the real hook is the build diversity. The revamped skill tree allows you to become a Sandevistan speedster, a master netrunner who kills enemies through walls, or a chrome-heavy tank. Every piece of cyberware you install changes how you interact with the world, creating a constant upgrade loop that keeps you hunting for more eddies. The story of V and Johnny Silverhand is emotionally raw, and the side content is so high quality that you'll find yourself ignoring the main quest for days just to solve the mysteries of the city's subcultures. It's a game where you don't just play, you jack in. And once you're in, you'll find it nearly impossible to unplug.
Smells like rotten eggs.
Ghost of Yotei. As the highly anticipated successor to Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei is designed to be the ultimate atmospheric hook for any gamer. Moving the setting to 1603 around Mount Yotei, the game humbles the industry by perfecting the minimalist open world. What makes this so addictive is the organic discovery. Sucker Punch has mastered the art of removing clunky HUDs and replacing them with environmental cues, the wind, the birds, and the smoke on the horizon. This creates a state of constant curiosity, where you aren't following an icon, you are exploring a beautiful, wild frontier. Technically, the game utilizes the power of the PS5 to render stunning snow physics and massive fields of wildflowers that react to every step and sword swing. The combat is a lethal, rhythmic dance that demands perfection, and once you master the timing of a parry, the dopamine hit is immense. The transition from the peaceful exploration of the Hokkaido wilderness to the sudden, visceral violence of a samurai duel creates a pacing loop that is incredibly hard to break. It is a game that values your time by making every single sunset and every single duel feel like a legendary event. Bloodborne is perhaps the most dangerously addictive game on this list. It doesn't hook you with friendly map markers or loot boxes, it hooks you with obsession. Set in the gothic Victorian nightmare of Yharnam, this game humbles modern action RPGs by demanding absolute aggression. The technical genius of the rally system, which allows you to regain lost health by immediately attacking back, forces you into a high-octane flow state that is pure adrenaline. You become addicted to the struggle. Every death is a lesson, and every boss defeated provides a level of catharsis that is rare in gaming. The trick weapon system, where your weapon can physically transform mid-combo, offers a level of mechanical depth that keeps combat feeling fresh for hundreds of hours. But the real trap is the lore. As the game shifts from traditional horror into cosmic Lovecraftian madness, you become obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the Great Ones. Between the main quest, the terrifying Chalice dungeons, and the pursuit of the Platinum Trophy, Bloodborne is a game that will live in your head long after you've put the controller down.
Red Dead Redemption 2. There is playing a game, and then there is living in Red Dead Redemption 2. This is arguably the most immersive digital experience ever created, and its addiction comes from its hyper-realism. Rockstar Games created a world that humbles the entire industry through its sheer attention to detail. You get hooked on the ritual of survival. Grooming your horse, hunting for a perfect pelt, or just sitting by the campfire in the grizzlies becomes a relaxing, meditative loop that can consume hours of your time without a single bullet being fired. But when the action hits, the Euphoria physics engine makes every shootout feel heavy and cinematic. The technical work on the lighting, the animal AI, and the dynamic weather is so advanced that in 2026, it still feels like a next-gen benchmark. The story of Arthur Morgan is a 60-hour emotional journey that makes you care about your gang members as if they were real people. You'll find yourself role-playing the life of an outlaw, not because the game tells you to, but because the world is so convincing that you don't want to break the illusion. It's a slow burn masterpiece that replaces your real life with a 19th century epic.
Days Gone is the ultimate sleeper hit that turns into an obsession once you get past the first few hours. What makes this game so incredibly addictive is the sense of constant vulnerability and progression. You start as Deacon St. John, a drifter with a broken bike and limited ammo, but the game's upgrade loop is one of the most satisfying in the genre. You aren't just leveling up a character, you're rebuilding your lifeline, your motorcycle. Technically, the game humbles its competitors through its dynamic weather and horde AI. Watching 500 individual freakers sprint toward you in a massive flowing wave of bodies is a technical marvel that keeps your adrenaline at a permanent high. You get hooked on the cleanup loop, clearing out nests, liberating camps, and finally gaining enough power fire to take down a massive horde. The satisfaction of turning a death trap area into a safe zone provides a massive dopamine hit. The Pacific Northwest environment is stunningly rendered, and the way the snow actually accumulates and affects your bike's handling in real time adds a layer of technical realism that keeps you engaged with the world's physics for dozens of hours. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Capcom's Resident Evil 4 Remake is a masterclass in pacing and combat satisfaction. This game is addictive because it never stops throwing new, exciting scenarios at you. It humbles modern survival horror games by perfecting the risk versus reward combat loop. The technical fluidity of Leon's movements, the ability to parry a chainsaw, stagger an enemy with a headshot, and follow up with a physical melee strike creates a rhythmic flow that is pure gaming joy. You get hooked on the resource management and the attaché case Tetris. There is a primitive, satisfying urge to organize your inventory and upgrade your weapons with the merchant. Every weapon feels distinct, and the sound design of a shotgun blast or a bolt-action rifle is so beefy and tactile that you'll want to hunt every ganado just to hear it. The RE engine delivers photorealistic environments that are dripping with atmosphere, from the rain-slicked village to the oppressive golden-hued castle. It's a game designed for replayability, with secret weapons and professional challenges that will have you starting New Game Plus the second the credits finish rolling. NBA 24-25. For sports fans, NBA 24-25 represents the pinnacle of simulated ambition, and its addiction comes from its high-stakes RPG progression. While many dismiss sports games as annual updates, the technical work on Pro Play technology in 2025 and 2026 has reached a level where real-world NBA footage is translated directly into in-game animations. This creates a level of physical realism that is staggering. Every crossover, jumper, and defensive slide feels weightier and more authentic than ever. The hook here is the my career and my team cycles. You start as a prospect and get addicted to the grind for greatness, upgrading your badges, refining your jump shot, and competing in a dense social city environment. The psychological one more game effect is powerful here, whether you're trying to move up the ranks in the Pro-Am or opening packs to build a fantasy squad of legends. The technical depth of the coaching systems and the AI's ability to adapt to your playstyle makes every match feel like a tactical chess game. It's a massive year-round ecosystem that rewards skill and dedication, making it nearly impossible for basketball fans to put down. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is the definition of kinetic joy. The reason this game is so addictive is that it offers the most satisfying traversal system in the history of the medium. What humbles other open worlds is the zero-friction movement. Between the refined web swinging and the new web wings, moving through the highly detailed, expanded New York City at 60 miles per hour is a meditative experience. You get hooked on the fluidity of heroism. You'll be on your way to a main mission only to be distracted by a random crime, a symbiote nest, or a drone chase, simply because the combat and movement feel so good to execute. Technically, the game utilizes the PS5's SSD to allow for near-instant character switching between Peter and Miles, and fast travel that happens in less than 2 seconds. The symbiote combat adds a brutal, visceral layer to the gameplay that keeps the action feeling fresh. The visual spectacle, from the reflection of the sun on the glass skyscrapers to the particle-heavy combat, is a technical tour de force that makes you feel like you're playing through a $300 million blockbuster film every single minute. Hogwarts Legacy. For anyone who grew up dreaming of receiving an acceptance letter, Hogwarts Legacy isn't just a game, it's the ultimate technical fulfillment of a lifelong fantasy. The reason this title is so incredibly addictive is its sense of place. Avalanche Software achieved something that humbles many other licensed games. They built a one-to-one scale, seamless recreation of the castle that feels alive. You get hooked on the discovery loop within the castle walls. Every corridor, moving staircase, and hidden portrait hides a puzzle or a piece of lore. Technically, the game's lighting and particle effects during combat are a visual feast. The spellcasting system is surprisingly deep, allowing you to juggle enemies in the air with Levioso and follow up with a devastating Defendo, creating a rhythmic combat flow that makes you feel like a true master of the dark arts. But the real addiction starts when you get your broom. Flying over the Scottish Highlands, discovering hamlets, and managing your own room of requirement with captured magical beasts creates a management and exploration cycle that can easily steal 80 hours of your life. It is a polished, nostalgic, and technically stunning adventure that rewards your curiosity at every turn.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt remains the gold standard for narrative addiction. This game humbles the industry by proving that side quests can be just as compelling as the main story. What keeps you hooked for hundreds of hours is the moral gray area. Unlike most RPGs, there are no easy choices in the continent. You get sucked into the life of Geralt of Rivia, a professional monster hunter, where a simple contract to kill a wraith can spiral into a tragic multi-hour story about family secrets and betrayal. Technically, the next-gen updates have kept the world looking breathtaking, with a foliage and weather system that creates an atmosphere of Slavic dread that is unparalleled. The loop of prepare, hunt, and collect is incredibly satisfying. You spend time researching a monster's weakness, brewing the right oils, and then engaging in a visceral, tactical sword dance. With the massive Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine expansions, the game offers a level of content density that is staggering. It's a game where you start a quest at sunset, and before you know it, you've unraveled a conspiracy, fought a vampire, and played 10 rounds of Gwent while the real-world sun is coming up.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Closing out our list is the newest technical powerhouse, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game is a masterpiece of innovation that is set to redefine the turn-based RPG genre for a new generation. What makes it so addictive is its active turn-based system. It humbles the classic static RPGs by requiring constant engagement. You can dodge, parry, and counterattack in real time during the enemy's turn, creating a high-stakes reaction loop that keeps your heart racing even in a tactical menu. Technically, the game is a visual miracle, built on Unreal Engine 5, with an art direction inspired by Belle Epoque France. The world is surreal, beautiful, and haunting as you lead a desperate mission to stop the Paintress from erasing humanity. You get hooked on the synergy and customization. Building your character's skill trees to trigger chain reactions and devastating finishers is a cerebral and visual reward that never gets old. It's a game that respects your intelligence and your reflexes, offering a fresh, next-gen take on the RPG formula that makes it impossible to put the controller down once the story begins to unfold.
The reality of these 15 games is that they weren't just designed to be played, they were designed to be lived. In an industry where so many titles feel like empty checklists or cash grabs, these are the experiences that remind us why we love this hobby. They offer worlds so dense, mechanics so fluid, and stories so gripping that just 5 more minutes inevitably turns into 5 more hours. So I have to ask, which of these games has already claimed the most hours of your life? And which one are you terrified to start because you know you'll never want to leave? Let me know your most addictive gaming stories in the comments below.